Hey everyone, welcome to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm chatting with entrepreneur, creative director, and public speaker, Piera Gelardi. Gelardi is here to talk about Refinery 29's 29 Rooms, whose Expand Your Reality tour is opening this Friday in Los Angeles. The interactive funhouse has rooms dedicated to style, culture, and above all else, creativity. Please put your hands together for Piera Gelardi.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I'm excited to talk about this interactive concept with you because I've heard a lot about 29 Rooms. I missed it when it was in New York. I'm happy that you guys are bringing it back to us. But can we kind of go back to the beginning of the idea of 29 Rooms and where it came from?
Yeah, so we started 29 Rooms back in 2015, and it was the 10-year anniversary of Refinery 29, which is a media company dedicated to women. And we were thinking about how could we create something that would really bring our brand to life, bring to life all of the incredible creative voices that we work with that, make our content really shine, and create something that would be a gift to the audience. And we had this idea, to take the 29 in our name and actually build out 29 different rooms, each dedicated to a different topic and a different creative voice, and just create basically a fun house of style, culture, and creativity. And we opened it up to our audience, and it was a total experiment. We really didn't know if it would be something that, people would be into, and when we opened our doors, there were lines around the block. It was, incredibly popular and just something that really, really resonated with the audience.
I mean, you basically take all the amazing articles and stories we see on Refinery 29 and all the different topics you guys cover there, and you kind of get to explore them in some of these rooms, whether it's female empowerment or just, it's usually all like very encouraging for women, right? Each of the rooms.
Yeah, we try and really create an environment that is inspiring, that encourages self-expression, and that's really empowering for the people coming through it.
So I read that over the last 4 years, there's been like more than 100,000 visitors.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you think about the impact that this has had on people.
I know, it's wild. We've had 150,000 visitors. So yeah, it's incredible, and it's really been cool to see sort of how, because when we built it, we wanted the audience to be center stage. We were thinking about, we did it during Fashion Week the first time, and we thought, Fashion Week is so exclusive, and we wanted to create an experience where our audience felt like this was for them and they were part of it. And the same is true of art. I think often art can be so intimidating. It can be, don't touch, look but don't touch, and so we wanted to create something that kind of fused all these different aspects of culture, but where the audience was really the star of the show. So we made it very interactive, very shareable, very, very encouraging. We have like our brand ambassadors, the people that actually work the rooms, really work to bring people in and to help them to have an amazing experience and to express themselves and feel uninhibited. So it's just resonated so much. And we see people come through, like, people make their own music videos in the space. They do fashion shoots. They shoot engagement photos. So it really is something, and tons of people come through to celebrate, milestones in their lives with their friends. So it's really incredible to see what it's become and kind of the place that it has in people's lives.
I love the engagement photos and people utilizing the space. I mean, it's expensive to rent out space, so it's like, might as well make the most of that ticket.
It's true.
So funny. So you guys are debuting it in LA this Friday.
Yeah,
right?
this Friday.
I saw the first day was already sold out, but there's still plenty of tickets available. Don't worry. So what can we expect from the 29 Rooms opening in LA?
So it's the Expand Your Reality tour, so a lot of rooms that are really meant to inspire creativity, self-expression, spark dialogue. Some of the favorite rooms that are coming back to LA are our 29 Questions room. So this is a room where we pair people up with a stranger. They sit across from each other. We have an icebreaker, and then there's a card deck, and people ask each other these questions in the card deck. And it's something that we've just seen in every single place that we've been. It's the #1 favorite room, and I think it's just because people are really looking for that connection. In our digital age, like, people just want to kind of be pushed outside their comfort zone and feel a connection with a stranger. So
it's funny you mentioned 29 Rooms. I think we have a photo showing sort of what the space looks like.
Yeah.
And I got a hold of the 29 questions.
Oh.
So I wanted to ask you some of them because we are
great.
strangers. We're getting to know each other.
That's true.
But I thought it would be sort of fun to recreate this experience a little bit.
Oh, fantastic.
I won't ask you all 29.
Okay.
But I'll ask you a handful. because I really was like drawn to some of the questions, and they really would start, I think, interesting conversations. So the first one is, what color is your soul?
Oh,
Right?
I think my soul is orange, which is the color of creativity and also creamsicles.
Creamsicles, totally underrated snack.
I agree.
How would you like to be remembered?
Ooh. I think I want to be remembered as someone that amplified the goodness in people's lives.
What is your greatest fear?
Oh, my greatest fear is definitely hurting people.
Ooh,
Yeah, that keeps me up at night.
you're really concerned about people. That's very empathetic and sweet.
I guess it's true. See all the hearts
The
on my
hearts,
jacket.
yeah.
That's
The loving energy.
yeah.
What makes you feel beautiful?
I think having fun.
Agreed.
Yeah, joy, just like radiating.
This one is very personal to me. Will you come up with a secret handshake with me?
Yes, you want to
Let's
do
do
it
it.
right now? Okay.
And we're gonna cover it. It's secret. You guys can't. You couldn't see it because it's a secret.
Yeah, because it was behind
Can't
that
find that on the
note
internet
card.
anywhere. When do you feel the most present?
I think I feel the most present when I'm in nature or when I'm playing with my daughter.
You said she's like 11 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like such a fun age. And then let's end it on, what is your favorite way to express your creativity?
Making costumes.
Really?
Yes, I love Halloween and I go all into it. Like this year, I hand painted our costumes, I hand rhinestone them. I'm like so into it.
I'm really into Halloween as well, and I can only imagine the level of creativity you reach. What has been your most favorite costume over the years?
Well, I was really excited about because this was the first year that my daughter was included in the family costume. So this year we did Siegfried and Roy, and she was the white tiger.
She nice?
She was nice. It was in the glory days, you know.
Before the clawing
Yeah.
went down? That's fair. I'm really into Halloween. I think my favorite costume ever, I went as CeeLo Green, which people did not expect. And I wore like a bald wig cap.
Ooh.
And I wore like a red leather jacket. So a lot of people thought I was like a bald Michael Jackson. They were a little confused.
That would be so specific.
It's like a very, like after that Dennis haircut,
Yeah.
we're going off on a tangent. But anyway, those questions
I
are
do love a
fun.
tangent.
I love a tangent. But I love that room because, like you said, very rarely do we actually interact with strangers.
Yeah.
And so have you seen this room in action before? Like, what are people like when they come out of this room or this experience?
Yeah, I think people tend to be really nervous about going into it. Like they want to go outside their comfort zone, but they're a little bit nervous about what it's going to be like. And then when they come out, they're so excited. And, you know, a lot of people exchange numbers or, you know, feel like they really have a connection. But I think it just reminds people, and people constantly tell us when they're like DMing us on Instagram, they just tell us how meaningful it was for them to remember how easy and how meaningful it is to connect with someone. And we actually have a room in LA that we're debuting, so it's going to be an experiment where we're kind of taking the love of this room and creating this room called Portraits with a Stranger. So we're working with an incredible choreographer to do these warm-up icebreakers that are sort of inspired by dance, and then people are going to take a picture with someone that they don't know. So we'll see. When we did this room, we were like, people are either going to love this or they're going to hate it. And it was the former. It was love.
I love that idea of having these like kind of intimate photos with somebody you don't know. You know, like that's, again, it's getting people outside of their comfort zone. You guys also bring in a lot of different influencers. You mentioned choreographers. You have people like the ACLU is going to have a space. And so how do you sort of pick and choose who's going to get to like have control of a room or feature a room?
Yeah, we usually start with, you know, because we're an editorially driven company, we usually start with meeting with our editors and really talking about what's resonating with the audience. So, you know, for example, you know, when we were creating this show, we were talking to the editors and they were saying how much spirituality and things like crystals and tarot are resonating with our audience. And so we worked with the Hood Witch.
I saw that. I was like,
yeah,
that's so exciting.
Yeah, we worked with her to create this really beautiful space called You Are Magic that is this kind of shrine with these beautiful crystals and then these affirmations. So it's a very meditative, beautiful space. And we also created this palm reading room. I'm telling you about all the ones that you do with strangers, but basically you sit across from someone and you can't see them, but that you give them your hand and then they read your palm based on, like we worked with a palm reader to kind of get some of the basics of palmistry. So yeah, we're always we're looking at the editorial content, thinking about what's resonating, and what are the issues that are important to our audience right now, and then picking people and organizations that really speak to that.
Yeah. Are there any new room like partnerships in a room space that you're really excited about, or that
Yeah.
they kind of took the ball and exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, I'm really excited. So in LA, we have a great partnership with Facebook, Spark AR, and we worked with this incredible British artist, Lucy Hargrove, that does like her works very tactile, but it's digital, so it looks textural and like you can touch it. So with the AR space, it's called the Mirage, and it's really gonna play with your perception of like what's real and what's digital. Yeah.
So how much do you get to go through the rooms and experience everything before?
I mean, I always go and I have, my own personal experience. And then I love when we open to the public. It's one thing to go through like on my own. And of course, I always have like the creative director eye, and I'm like, oh, this needs to move like this. And like, can we fix that? And but then when the public comes through, that's when you really see how people are interacting. And we just learned so much. I mean, this tour this year, we've learned so much. It's been really amazing to just see how people interact, and it's definitely every year we take all the learnings that we get from the audience and then think about how we can bring them into the next year.
I just love it because of everything that's going on in our society right now. And I know Refinery 21 is constantly giving people tips on how to deal with the stresses and take, make self-care a priority. And I just love the message of Refinery 29 of empowering women.
Thank you.
And it's cool to see it kind of play out in a space. So why do you think it's important for people to find that creativity and expression through an art installation like this? Like, in what ways does art help facilitate maybe more difficult conversations, I guess?
Yeah, I think what we try to do with this show is it's not a traditional art show. It's kind of pairing like these different things. So our original inspiration was a fun house, but we wanted to make this artful fun house. And so I think what we do with 29 Rooms is we open people up through play. People come through, and the main thing that they associate the space with is fun, and so fun disarms us. And then I think also creativity. I think a lot of us have lost touch with our creativity because we were either told we weren't creative, or it feels like something that's tied to childhood, and then as an adult you don't give yourself permission to explore that. So I think that through this fun-filled, artful space, we give people that permission to tap into their creative life force, to discover a new passion, to pick up a paintbrush, to go into this meditative space and hear an affirmation, to write a note to their inner child. All of these activities that you just might not do in your day to day, and also to I think in terms of like the larger message, like we have this room called Inner Child. So we basically worked with this artist, Carlotta Guerrera, who did these a beautiful sculpture of her adult self looking at her child self. But in a normal art show, that might just be, you might go and you might look at the sculpture and you might take something away, or you might be like, what is this? So in our space, we worked with her to think about, okay, so once the audience sees that, what can they do? So we asked them to look in the mirror and actually write something to their childhood self, and the walls are filled with people's messages to their childhood self. So part of the experience is looking at the art, part of it is writing something to yourself, and then part of it is really reading what other people have to say. And it's like a window into the, how universal our struggles are, but, just really seeing, so I think it's like a very communal experience in that way. So we just try and use that art and that play and that the environment to open people up to new experiences, and also to learn about things that they might not know about. So like in LA, we're working with Lola and this organization called Period that's really looking into period equity. And so I think a lot of people might not know that tampons are taxed like a luxury item. So we're actually going to be taking that information and turning it into something that's very actionable, that people can really get involved with once they know. So yeah.
That actionable step.
Yes.
Because I think once you become aware of something like that, I remember the first time I heard about that tax, I was like, well, this is insane.
Yeah.
But you don't quite know what to do after that. So I sort of like that you give people that opportunity as well.
Yeah, we try and do that. Like one year, we had a room where you could write postcards to your senators and representatives and people. I think we sent 50,000 postcards from the event. And what was amazing was people coming out were like, "Wow, that was so cathartic." I always hear people saying I should do that, but it doesn't seem like something I can actually do. And so it was just great to see people realize that an action like that is within their grasp and is actually something that can feel cathartic and I don't know, fun in a way too.
On that note, guys, if you haven't voted today, there's still time.
Yes, it's voting day.
It is voting day.
It's voting day.
Many polls are open until late in the evening. So just a little shameless plug there.
No.
And I know Refinery 29 is going through some big changes outside. And I know as a co-founder, we were talking downstairs, just what are you kind of looking forward to with this new acquisition and with the company going forward?
Yeah, so yesterday we closed a deal with Vice Media Group, which is our new home for the company. And yeah, so I mean, I'm continuing forward in my role, so I'm very excited about the new possibilities, the new creative collaborators that I get to work with, and really the fact that Vice is such a global company. I was just in Sao Paulo 2 weeks ago, and there were so many people there that were like, "Please bring Refinery 29 to Sao Paulo." So I'm just excited about expanding, our message and our brand to places that really want us, want it, need it. We'll be excited about it, and to just tap into the studios business that they have too. So it's a new chapter. It's filled with so many emotions. I've been so nostalgic lately. I've literally been texting people that I worked with over the years, like nonstop.
You built this company and like you made it a household name. How do you process that? Like that's such a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's kind of funny. Maybe this is TMI, but I was like talking to my therapist 2 weeks ago and I was like, you know what? I realized that in all of these years, I never had a moment or a period where I felt like, wow, you did it. Like, great, because I was always building and I was always seeing a new opportunity or seeing something that needed to get fixed. And so it was like the first time, like I was talking to her and then she said, if you could give yourself that, what would you tell yourself you were proud of? Then the tears came. Yeah, because it was, it was just this moment of like, just taking the time to think about the last 15 years of building this company and, everything that we've accomplished from being like this big. So,
especially with how much the landscape has changed and how you've had to constantly evolve and pivot. And I mean, like you said, you don't really have an opportunity to look at what you've done because you're just trying to stay in it.
Yeah, you're in it and you're adapting and you're looking at how the industry is changing. And, for me, I'm like, I get so excited about ideas. So I always have some like scheme, so something like 29Rooms that's up my sleeve that I like am dying to build. So, but it's been such a journey. And I just think about the fact that when we started, Twitter didn't exist, Instagram didn't exist, like, so much has changed, and we've evolved so much from where we started. And so, it's a very exciting moment to actually feel like it's appropriate for me to soak it all in and reflect.
Yeah, you should soak it in. I can't tell you how many Refinery 29 articles I've read in the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you've reached a lot of women. We do have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Who has the first one?
Hi. Thanks
Hi.
so much for coming to talk to us today. I'm a huge fan of your website, and so is my mom. So I wanted to ask how, like, you came to the point where you were like, we're gonna have such a like broad spectrum of women that we can like cater to, because I feel like everyone I know is such a fan of Refinery 29 and like the immense amount of content that like relates to them.
Well, that makes me so happy that it's a cross-generational, love. I think, for us, it's always been about elevating voices. So I think the way that we've been able to reach so many different people is by really identifying, critical voices that, we feel like aren't being heard and giving them space to be heard. And I think also tackling, I hear a lot from, women of different generations that, especially older generations that say that they never had, like my mom's friends always tell me that they wish they had Refinery 29 growing up. and when they were younger. And I say, well, you have it now, so you can go back and tell your younger self the things that you have learned from reading Refinery 29. So I think to us it's more about the mindset of people that are curious and want to that want to grow in their lives and enrich their lives and really live true to themselves. And I think that really spans all ages. So yeah.
Yeah, you can totally grow up with the site. I mean, whatever phase you're sort of in. Like, I was just checking in on it today, and it's like everything from life and money to infertility to, I mean, wherever you're at, there's like a touchstone, which is nice for women because, like you said, you're constantly evolving and changing. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely try.
Over here.
Hi, we have an online question from our site. So how do you keep the rooms innovative
Okay.
year after year?
We keep I think similarly, we keep the rooms innovative by always tapping into different creative people of all different, whether it's a musician, a filmmaker, a choreographer. We're always looking for the people that are, really on the cutting edge of whatever they're doing, that to collaborate with us to create something new. And the other way that we try and continue to innovate is just really listening to our audience and seeing, we do lots of surveys, we watch people on site. I have a DM chain with our head of experiential and our social media manager where we're sharing the things people are saying on social so that we can really understand how the event is resonating with people, and then we take those learnings and we just keep growing. So for example, 29 Questions was like, we created it out of an insight that we had last year where people said that they were really curious about the other people in this space and they wanted to get to know each other. So 29 Questions was the answer to that, and it turned out to be the favorite room. So I think just amazing collaborators, always listening to our audience and always pushing ourselves to continue to evolve.
And so on this tour, I know you guys are starting in LA this Friday, and then what other stops is 29Rooms going to make?
So we'll then be in New York in early December, December 5th. Details to be announced, but we're very excited to come back home to New York.
I'm excited. I'll definitely be in those rooms when
Please.
you come back to Brooklyn. I cannot wait. In the meantime, 29Rooms Expand Your Reality Tour opens on November 8th in Los Angeles, and you can go to 29rooms.com for more information and put your hands together for Piera Gelardi.
Thank you.